Okay, here we are. This is the tricky part. And this is very, very important that you listen. This will not lift right off after you take those 4 screws out. There are 3, maybe 4, we got to count them in a minute, little tabs that go from this panel down into this panel. And they're hook shaped. So this panel has to be tilted forward before it can be lifted up. Okay? So you need to be very careful. Tilt it forward to break it loose. And there she goes. There she goes. Just be patient. Just be patient, because you have to break all of them loose at once. I believe the guys that designed this thing probably used to work for General Motors or something. Took courses on how to make things difficult. There we go. So you just got to play with it a little bit, so don't get frustrated and don't try to force it. Okay, so that goes to show you I haven't seen it all. Apparently there's this one silly little wire here. It's black, so it may be a ground wire of some sort. I don't know. But they wrap that wire around. It goes from the drawbar assembly here up around here, and they did not leave any extra room for you to move this. So in this is the first time out of like I said, about a dozen of these things that I've done that I've run into this particular issue. So we're going to pause again, and what I'm going to have to do is unsolder it from down here. Another option is to just snip the thing and then splice it back together again when you put it together. Whatever is best for you. In either case, if you happen to have a wire like this, you got to break. I was talking about that hold it on there. You can see there's one there. There's another one right there in the center, and another one on the outboard edge. And what they do is they fit into this hole, or I should say slot. As you can see by nature of the shape, you have to tilt it up and over to get it Okay, once that wire is loosened, look at here. She just goes right on back. Now, this one doesn't mind staying put, but you can see what I was talking about with this wire attached to here. They didn't leave any extra room for sure, and it's tight as a banjo string right there. You're just going to want to make sure that whatever you do, you don't force anything. So, in order to prevent any problems, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this wire around here. And what that's going to do is just secure it so she doesn't want to fall back or forth and run the risk of breaking off any more wire. First thing I do is lay a towel down over the keyboard. I just prefer not scratching things up if I can help it. Now, these are the drawbars. This is where the connection is made in the back. Sometimes I've seen that these screws are very tight and you have to push down on this screwdriver pretty hard. So, to be on the safe side, to keep from bending your drawbar, probably wouldn't be a bad idea at all if you were to go ahead and pull them out and then just go through and loosen all of these. Okay, now that all the screws are loose, I'm going to go ahead and take these little plates off. These little plates here are what holds the contact spring to the drawbar. Okay, here's the drawbar contact. That's the contact right there. Those are attached by this little copper strip on the back. So what we're going to do is remove all of these guys. Okay, once those are out, your drawbars just kind of slide out the front. Here what I've done is kind of parked these contact springs up out of the way. You can see I have them kind of tucked up in here. That's just to kind of get them out of the way for when you remove this part. Next thing to do is take a look at your drawbar housing. It's held on by these screws here. Can't speak for any other model. These 4 screws here, do not remove those. It wouldn't do you any good even if you did, but you don't need to remove these 4 large ones. It's only the 8 smaller ones around the outside that need to come out. Here you have it. It'll just lay right off. Now what you're going to want to do is remove all of these little springs. Now I like to do that just because I'm anal and like to make sure everything is perfectly clean. And the only way to clean these things properly is to remove them. Okay, so the best way to get these little springs out is to take a very small screwdriver and on this part of it you're going to push this little tab off the back and it will just pop right off. You can see there's a tiny little lip on the back of that thing that hangs over this edge. So it's simply a matter of pushing it with the screwdriver and they pop out just like that, just that simple. What you don't want to do is pull on them too much because you will actually deform them, and you don't want to do that because it makes reassembly more difficult and also it will affect the feel of your drawbar. These little springs are what actually give the drawbar a little bit of drag as you pull it in and out. So if they get bent to where there's no drag or too much drag, you're going to have drawbars that don't feel right anymore. Okay, disassembly of these drawbars, very simple. Single screw on the bottom. It's like a sheet metal screw. It's just a matter of taking that screw out. Once you do, the whole thing just kind of comes apart. I'm going to do all of these in a batch. It's just a whole lot easier to do all of these at once. That screw removes the cap. A couple of things you want to remember. Never try to pull that off the wrong way. Okay, there's little indents, little swedged parts on this brass piece. If you try to pull it the wrong way, it's going to end up ruining that part. So this way is the way that it comes off the easiest. That's the way it's designed to come off. So here you have all the pieces. I'm not going to specifically recommend what to clean these things in, because if I say that it works and for some reason on your particular Hammond it doesn't, you're going to get mad at me, and I don't want that to happen. But safe to say that these brass pieces are pretty durable, so I would use, typically what I use is mineral spirits. Okay, it's relatively safe, mineral spirits, kerosene, something like that. And it does cut through the grease. Some of these things are really, really greasy. These are not so bad, so that'll clean these. These, be very, very careful, okay? That writing is not as durable as you might think. Things like alcohol, grease lightnings, some of the heavier cleaners will take that writing off, so be careful. Just use a detergent type of thing. These you can probably use most anything. There's really not much to them. Some of those, these particular ones, do not have any writing on the face. Some of them have the little foot numbers written on them. The ink on those is probably going to come off very easily. So again, be careful what you use to clean these things with.